UFC have a problem, and his name goes by Christian Rodriguez. He's been given the last 4 undefeated prospects, and he's ran through them. As soon as you bump him up in competition, he tends to struggle a little bit. But give him a prospect, undefeated, bunch of hype around them, he runs right through them. What does the UFC do? In my opinion, I have no clue. So thankfully, I don't work for the UFC. But that's besides the point. In this video, I'm going to give you a recap of what happened at UFC Fight Night, Mackenzie Dern taking on Amanda Ribas 2, and just going to give my overall thoughts of how the fights went, what happened, and obviously where I went wrong on the betting side of things, because, you know, we only lost a little bit of money. We lost around 3 units, like nothing crazy, but I don't know, a little bit out of my control, but what can you do? That's the game. Let's get into it. Okay, so to kick off the prelims, we had Nurullo Aliev taking on Solecki. Solecki was a dog. He was able to kind of stay into it for all 3 rounds. What did we learn? We found out that Aliev is not a dangerous man at all. So bet the over rounds every time you fight him. Solecki obviously had a submission attempt at one point, but Aliev just got the better exchanges of the wrestling and also the striking as well. But we also did find out that his takedown defense isn't the best. Solecki shot a takedown and was able to get it pretty easy as well. So I don't know how I feel about Aliev. Kind of just depends about the opponent he gets next, whether they can wrestle and strike. But I don't know. Just did all right in my opinion. Next, we had Fatima Kline taking on Dudakova. Kline won. You know, I don't think anybody's really shocked. She was just a step ahead of every exchange, striking, wrestling, and all that. I'm not the most impressed about how the performance went. I would say that if she fights a more dominant wrestler than her, just like we saw against Gadzhiyasulov, I think, she got fucked, right? She just got beaten. So, yeah, so-so fight, whatever. This is where I went wrong. I saw all the red flags from Magomed, and somehow I said, yeah, let's bet on him. Let's cook him up in a parlay. What a great idea, because everybody else is so confident in him. Bruno Lopes did what Mario Batista did against Aldo, and he just hugged him against the fence for fucking 3 rounds. It was the most boring way to win a fight. It's just like, I get it that this is how he makes his livelihood. If he wins, he doubles the pay. I get that, so I can see why he would do that. But man, it was just so boring. And Magomed, he did good for stuff and takedowns, but it was just kind of relentless from Lopes. So I get why. Obviously, he lost, but yeah, it just wasn't really dangerous on the feet either. But that's just how the game goes. Bruno Lopes, you're in the same bucket as Mario Batista. Let's just put it that way. Next, Ernesta Kareckaite versus Nicolle Caliari, or however you say her name, the Brazilian girl. Brazilian girl did good. You know, she had good pressure, all that kind of stuff. Ernesta just had like a 9-inch reach advantage, so of course she was going to win in the striking exchanges. And that's kind of what it came down to. Takedowns were kind of, you know, more on the Caliari side, I think is how you say her name. She was just more of a pressure fighter, but I think the striking volume from Ernesta won her this fight. Next, we actually do have a good prospect, and thankfully they're not in C-Rod's division. Jacobe Smith, flatline Preston Parsons. Incredible. You know, short notice, so Preston Parsons, he looked a little bit off. In my opinion, a little bit jittery, a little bit slow in the feet, that kind of thing. But Jacobe Smith, wow. People were concerned about his gas tank. He didn't need it. First round KO, fair play to him. I'm surprised that he didn't get the bonus, because it was a very impressive flatline KO. Next, moving on, we had Trey Ogden taking on Thiago Moises. It was just one of those fights, man. Trey Ogden apparently tore something in his arm. Thiago Moises was just better in the grappling exchanges, and yeah, that's kind of all it came down to. And the leg kicks as well was a huge problem for Trey Ogden. He just looked a little bit slow, and that's the reason why he lost. The next fight I feel sorry for, Ihor Potieria. I knew he was going to lose, so I actually bet on the Marco Tulio just like everybody else did. But man, it's just so unfortunate. I think it was an eye poke, then a groin shot, and it was just like a bunch of stoppages, just like his last fight against Cesar Almeida. And then he gets back into the fight after they continue, and Marco Tulio flatlines him as well. So unfortunately, he's probably going to be cut. But fair play to Marco for getting that KO. Next, the underdog. I bet on this guy, Felipe Bunes, or Bunes, however you fucking say his name, against Jose Johnson. Great scrambling for the first 2 minutes, and then Felipe was able to find the submission. It's kind of what it came down to. I think Jose was kind of banking on the fact that his jiu-jitsu would last, but unfortunately it didn't, and Felipe was just a better, I guess, jiu-jitsu guy in this fight. Moving on into the main card, though. Main card time. Let's get into the recap. This is where I lost a lot of money. Okay, I had a lot of parlays with Uros Medican because, again, I thought he was just going to be the better striker in this, but no. Every time he would strike, he would leave his chin wide open, and Soriano caught him. Never would have saw that coming. I actually thought Soriano would have implemented the wrestling game plan. I guess we were only 30 seconds in, so I guess he would have done that anyway, but yeah, I thought Uros Medic was a lock. He was not, so that's that. Unlucky him, but good win by Soriano. Glad he got that done again. Thought he would have got the bonus, but apparently not. They're feeling a little bit cheap on the first fight of the year. Next, this is where the problem comes in. Christian Rodriguez. I think clear as day, 2-1. I think he won the first round and the third round, if I remember right. Austin Bashi, he looked good, but he is a very one-dimensional fighter. You know that he's going to be shooting for the takedown, so if you can stop them, you win, because you can just out-tire him, because with wrestling, unless you're Marab, people tend to slow down. And Christian Rodriguez was super calm, collective, stayed composed in all positions, and he just had the better strike length and the better takedown defense, and outworked Bashi. So, good job for C-Rod. Again, it's kind of calm. Like, karma has to catch up to him for what he did against Bulgarian. There's no way he won that, but besides the point, that's not why we're here in this video. But good win for him. And Bashi, I still think he's somebody we should watch because his wrestling is very impressive. It's just, he's just one-dimensional. He does need to work on the striking a little bit. Next, Chris Curtis taking on Roman Kopylov. So this is the first leg of my green parlay that I put out. And oh my, was I worried about this fight. The first round, great. Roman Kopylov taking it ahead. I'm like, oh, easy lock. Made my money here. Second round, Chris Curtis fights back. I think cuts Roman above the eye and stuff. I was so scared that the doctors were going to get involved and stop the fight. And then the third round, we had that weird controversial stoppage. 1 second left. To be fair, Roman was going to win the third round clear as day. Like, he dropped Chris. Chris was super hurt towards the end as well. It's kind of weird that they stopped it 1 second to go, but realistically, if Roman didn't walk off, he would have jumped on him, punched him more, and they still would have called it as well. So in my eyes, it's a very actually okay stoppage, but I can get why people are annoyed by 1 second left. And Chris is gonna, maybe whine a little bit about it, which, okay. But he was just gonna lose the fight anyway. But good stuff for Roman. It was a good kickboxing. I wish he used kicks more, but striking was okay, and I think he landed like one takedown or something like that. Fight of the night for sure. Next, I had no clue that this was going to live up to even more than the Roman Kopylov fight. Cesar Almeida taking on Abdul, whatever, you get the rest. Oh my lord. First, Abdul dropped Cesar, and I was like, oh no, the second leg of the green parlay is out. I'm done. I'm going to lose even more money tonight. Drops Cesar. Caesar's recovering, up against the fence. Abdul just letting it all hang out on him. Cesar ducks. Boom! Lands it, flatlines Abdul, and apparently the report said like 7 minutes he was unconscious. I swear to God, I've never yelled louder at my TV. It was the most crazy knockout for the come behind as well. It was just insane. Cesar Almeida, there's two things though. Is one, he had no head movement, so betting on him in the future, if they're just going to be a better striker, he's going to lose. Or two, his chin issues as well. He did get dropped pretty easy from Abdul. I don't know whether that's the power side of things from Abdul or whether it's a chin issue. I'm just going to assume it's a chin issue until I see difference. But man, he has some power to flatline Abdul like that. Great stuff. And the green parlay smashed it. Let's go. Co-main event. In my eyes, this was just a very mid fight. I get how people are praising it. I don't see how. I think it's more of just a bias towards Ponzinibbio just because he works for the UFC. So it's just the first round. They were just so slow and old because they are two old people, and obviously they've had good careers and good moments, all that kind of stuff. Like, I respect both these fighters, but man, it was just like, why wasn't the Romanov fight in the co-main event, or even the Cesar Almeida co-main event? They're trying to build both prospects. Why put this here? And it was just also a weird stoppage at the end too, with the standard KO. I get that Carlson was hurt, but he was still swinging back. He was still protecting himself. But I don't know. It was just okay back and forth between the two. Very sloppy and very just old men-esque. It reminded me of Mike Tyson. Just Stay away from that kind of style. And then the main event, I was high on Amanda Ribas and Mackenzie Dern pulled off a armbar submission to win the rematch. First round, I'm pretty sure Mackenzie Dern got the takedown. That was it. You're not going to get up. And then second round, Amanda Ribas got the takedown. Dern wasn't going to get back up. So it's kind of one apiece going into it. I have no clue how Mike Bell got the round switched up. I think it was on this fight anyway that you got the round switched up. It's just the judges, man. It's just, again, new year, same judges, horrible stuff. But besides the point, Mackenzie Dern got the armbar with 4 seconds to go in the third round. Fair enough. Unlucky Amanda Ribas. I don't think I've ever predicted Amanda Ribas right, so know that for the future, if I ever bet Amanda Ribas, bet against me and vice versa, because I just can't do it. But that was the recap. Overall, we came back. I thought I was down thousands at the end. Turns out it was only like $300 or something, so nothing crazy. Just a good card. I'm excited for UFC 311. I'm going to get my prediction video out by tomorrow, so expect that on the channel there. Comment your thoughts about how you thought the event went and what was your favorite moment, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, links in the description for the socials. And then I will see you in the next video. I don't know.